Am I wrong for no longer cooking for wife after she drunkenly admitted she wished her male co-worker could cook for her instead? My wife and I have been married for 7 years and together for 10. A couple years ago, my wife had a male co-worker who used to cook for the office often. My wife used to always rave about his food, and it admittedly made me insecure, also because he looked like a Greek model. I had also started cooking for wife around that time. I was never a serious cook, but I decided to give it a shot. Prior to then, I only used to cook basic food, but I decided to try cooking complex meals. However, a lot of times it didn't come out great. My wife used to help me, but I never was serious about it. One night, my wife was drunk and we just had a beef Wellington I had cooked. It was sort of a disaster, and my wife and I were both laughing about it. However, my wife then drunkenly admitted she wished her male co-worker could cook for her every day. I didn't fully grasp what she was saying as I was really drunk, but my wife realized what she said and she apologized. I told her it was all right, and that it was probably some attempted joke. However, the next day, I grasped what she was saying, and I felt really deflated. My wife sensed it and apologized again, and after taking a day to think about it, I told my wife let's not make a big deal about it, but also, I was never going to cook for her ever again. My wife again apologized and almost started crying, but I told her it was all in the past, and let's move on. It's been 2 years since then, and my wife and mine's relationship is stronger than ever. Over the past couple of years, I have also spent a lot of time taking cooking lessons from my sister, who's a really good cook. I learned that cooking just takes a lot of consistent practice, and you can't just learn it over the internet. You need to acquire the skill. And I can now confidently say, I am a much better cook than I was a couple of years ago. I cook for friends, and for my family or my wife's family when they come over. The food I'm the most proud of, and which I got a lot of compliments on, is the Valencian paella I made when my wife's family came over for Christmas. However, in spite of the progress I've made, I can't find it in me to cook for my wife alone. I still remember the hurt and insecurity I felt a couple of years ago. My wife even stopped speaking to and taking food from the co-worker after that incident, and the co-worker has even left the company since. But I still can't find it in me to cook a romantic dinner for my wife. My wife has asked me a few times, and she says she's willing to do anything to repent or take accountability. But I tell my wife I've already forgiven her a couple of years ago. It's just that I cannot mentally bring myself to ever cook for her. Am I wrong? Relevant/top comments. Commenter 1. Like others have said, it's time to put it behind you. Your wife made the effort and has been holding onto the pain of the resentment you feel for her for years now. You've grown as a cook, now it's time to grow emotionally and come together with your wife. Your wife yearns to be close to you. OP. I am very emotionally close with my wife. It's just with this specific aspect, I can't bring myself to do it. My wife almost destroyed my love for cooking a couple years ago when she made that comment. But I was thankfully able to get over her comment. My sister said if you're emotionally vulnerable about something with someone and they shit over all it, never ever repeat that mistake again, no matter how tempting it might be. She also taught me cooking provided I kept my word that I would never cook for my wife again. So even though I love my wife a lot, my conscience will not allow me to cook for my wife. Commenter 2. You haven't forgotten or forgiven her. Therapy might help. Commenter 3. You're just lying to yourself, your wife, and now all of us LOL. You have not forgiven her. Commenter 4. I think you're not giving your wife enough credit. She stopped eating what her fellow worker cooked. She has apologized and really wants that one close thing. Enjoying an intimate meal you cooked just for her. You say you have forgiven her. No, my friend, you have not. You are still holding a grudge. I get that she hurt your feelings and made you feel insecure. But Gizo 2 years? And you'll cook for everybody and their mother and still won't for her? That's cold. Update. Next day. Thank you all the comments on my previous post. Pretty much all of the comments told me I was very wrong and what I was doing what cruel to my wife. It was never my intention to be cruel to my wife. It was all about my mental health, but I understand now how it can be perceived as being cruel. I didn't want to make a big deal of it. So I told my wife this morning I would start cooking for her tonight and make her a special dinner. My wife was very excited and hugged and thanked me, and I am nervous and excited and looking forward to opening this new chapter in our lives. I, however, reminded my wife again how she had almost destroyed my love for cooking a couple of years ago. I also gave my wife an analogy. My sister told me this morning to tell this analogy to make my wife understand the impact of what she said a couple of years ago. I asked my wife how would she feel if I drunkenly admitted to preferring hugs from Vanessa. Vanessa is my close childhood friend, because Vanessa has a softer and more feminine feel to her. I asked my wife if she would get over that comment even if I apologized the rest of our lives. And my wife admitted she wouldn't be able to get over that comment. and she apologized again for what she said a couple of years ago. But having said all that, I am really excited about tonight. I plan on making my wife lemon butter lobster risotto and serve it with a glass of white wine. I hope to make it as romantic as possible, and I hope it comes out good. That's probably my final update. Thank you all for the advice. Top comments. Commenter 1, wow. The Vanessa thing was weirdly specific. Commenter 2, it came from his sister as well. She's always had a hand in this. She's the one who told him to stop cooking for his wife. He really can't see what she's doing. Commenter 3, wrong analogy to use. You talk about finding your best friend more attractive than her, and worst you talk about the way she feels when you hug her. What do you think your wife is going to think now every time she sees you talking to that friend, hugging her? That is unnecessarily cruel. She talked about liking the food of a coworker. You talk about liking the body of your best friend. You could have used a hobby as an analogy, for example, but you choose potentially, but you have now put a seed of doubt in her mind. Commenter 4, years of punishment needed, that cherry on top, huh? Story 2, I, 18 male, am not accepting my wrestling/academic scholarship to a university since my girlfriend, 18 female, didn't get in. My dad, 48 male, says I can't have my $529 money they saved for me. He's so mad. What can I do? My household is in chaos over the news I dropped on Saturday, and I don't think my parents have ever been this mad, so I really need help. The basics are I got a wrestling and academic scholarship to a D1 school that's about 8-hour drive away. I've wrestled since I was 4 and got straight A's since middle school, and I'm proud of both my scholarships. My athletic scholarship is not full ride, but with the academic add-on, it would mean I could get a 4-year education with almost no cost. My parents saved about $50,000 in a 529 plan, and my parents were so proud of me. They said if I made it through the first year of college with good grades and impressed my coaches, I could have the 529 money to live off of or invest or whatever is acceptable with taxes. Now it comes to my girlfriend. I love her more than I can say. I mean, she is literally my world, and I can't imagine my life without her. She is my soulmate, and we are all but officially engaged at this point. First, we thought we could do the long-distance thing, but there's no way, so she did a late reach application to my university, but got denied. We got the news on Friday. Without even thinking about it, I said I'd turn down the scholarship and stay with her at the more local state school. For her part, at first, she was mad at me for not wanting to follow my wrestling dreams, and she was fearful I'm throwing everything away for her, and she promised me that we could make an 8-hour distance work if it was meant to be, but after some convincing, she agreed. I sat my parents down on Saturday morning and told them that I was turning the scholarships down and would need the money from the 529 plan. They exploded, and I mean exploded at me. I've never really been in trouble, so I didn't even realize they could get so mad or be so disappointed in me. We argued basically all day Saturday, and before they got so frustrated they went and stayed in a hotel to not have to see me. They said the bottom line is basically, the 529 money is mine to do what I want with. But they are not supporting stupidity, so I have to work and pay for my first year of college 100%, and if I maintain AC while working part-time average, then I can have the money. I guess their argument is they now question my dedication to school and don't want the money to just go down the drain. This is so unfair because that money was saved for school, and it's not like I'm not going. I already have acceptance to our state school, and what's important is the education, not how I get there. My parents are mad because they know I love wrestling and spent a ton of time and money as I was growing up to get me to the top levels, but with MMA being so popular these days, I can use my skills professionally if I want. To me, everything is good, and there's no reason to freak out and deny me the money. What can I do in this situation? How do I convince them that the fair thing to do is let me have my 529 money to go to school, which is what it's intended for? TLDR, my parents are threatening to not allow me full access to my 529 college money after I said I was turning down a wrestling/academic scholarship so I can go to the same school as my girlfriend. What can I do? Edit. As if my life couldn't suck more, my girlfriend called and her parents convinced her that anyone willing to throw away their future for a HS relationship is someone she needs to step away from. So we are officially on a break. Literally, what the fuck? Relevant comments. Commenter. You are doing a big fucking mistake. The fuck are you thinking? Don't piss on your future for some girl. If she can't follow you, that's on her. Don't sacrifice so much because she can't go. You'll regret this and resent her, especially the day she'll dump you. Because let's be frank, high school relationships don't last and she'll dump you eventually. Or you will. OP. Because let's be frank, high school relationships don't last and she'll dump you eventually. Or you will. I know everyone says this, but our relationship is truly different. Even my parents love her and hope we stay together. Commenter. Your parents are 100% right in this situation. Never give up an education for a high school relationship. You work your entire life to get into this school, and you got scholarships as well. You're giving up a huge opportunity here for your girlfriend. Put this into perspective. 5 years from now, will you regret not going to your school of choice if your relationship doesn't work out? Yes, you will. You're not entitled to that money. You're making an irrational decision. If your relationship is strong enough, you make long-distance work. If it's meant to be, it will be. Your acceptance/scholarships into your choice of school is guaranteed. Your relationship is not. Update. So like I said in the original, that was Saturday in the middle of the post, my GF called and said she had to talk. Basically what had happened is my parents had called her parents. They are pretty close friends in their own right. And her parents sat her down and basically convinced her that my decision was not good for either of us, so she was breaking up with me. She said that she could never live with the guilt of me not taking my scholarships and that I had to take them to have any chance of things working out with her. I had the worst weekend of my life because I didn't have my girlfriend anymore. Basically, I begged her on Monday to get back together with me, and she said she just needed time. I have no idea what this means because everything was so cool with us last week, but this week, broken up. Can someone please explain how this makes sense? I have no idea. I'm trying my best to leave her alone, but it's so hard, and I've even heard rumors that a guy she used to date before me is driving her to a party tonight. Like literally have no idea what to make of that. This is pain almost unbearable. So to the part that probably everyone cares about, since I'd never notified my scholarship school that I wasn't coming, everything is still on track for me to show up in June for unofficial workouts. So I'm still going to accept my scholarship and everything will move forward as if nothing ever happened as far as that goes. So that's my update. Thanks for everyone for being so honest with me, and I realize I pretty much still don't want to hear the truth that this is the best for me because I'm so hurt over not being with my girlfriend anymore. TLDR, I posted last week about not taking scholarships so I could go to school with my girlfriend, but she broke up with me. I'm taking the scholarships anyways. Top comment. Commenter. Dude, I know you're feeling really bad right now, but in the future, you will not regret taking the scholarship. Story 3. Am I the jerk for refusing to let my girlfriend bring her dead dog's ashes on vacation? My girlfriend, 29 female, and I, 28 male, have been together for 4 months. She had a dog that died a few months before we met. I have only ever spent the night at her place. I live with my sister and her 2 kids, so it's a little chaotic at my place. GF has a small, 2 to 3 inches tall, urn on her bedside table with the dog's ashes. Before she turns off her lamp to go to sleep, she always gives it a little tap on the top and says good night, as though she is talking to the dog. I think it's weird, but I have never said anything. We were supposed to go away for the weekend. On Friday, I was watching her pack and noticed she took the urn and put it in the top pocket of her backpack. I asked what she was doing. She said she didn't want to leave the dog behind. I told her she was not allowed to bring the urn as it made me very uncomfortable. I didn't want to see it any time we returned to our hotel room. I didn't want her talking to her dead dog after we've had sex, i.e., before we go to sleep. It's weird, and frankly, she's been mourning this dog for too long. She didn't argue. She simply started to unpack her bag. She told me to have fun on the weekend getaway, as she would not be coming. I asked if she was seriously choosing a dog's ashes over me. She said she was choosing herself over me, as I could have spoken to her with kindness and empathy, but didn't. She also said that I didn't get to dictate how long she's allowed to grieve. Then she asked me to leave. She hasn't replied to my texts. I think she's overreacting. My sister said she can see both of our sides. Am I an asshole for thinking my GF is weird for being so attached to her dead dog's ashes? Edit 1. The hotel was non-refundable and only a 3-hour drive, so I went on the trip without her. Edit 2. She started seeing a psychologist around the same time we started dating. She hasn't told me any specifics, but she said the trauma of suddenly losing her dog brought to the surface other trauma in her past. This is why I think she has been mourning for too long. She is still attached to the dog, even after seeing a professional on a regular basis for several months. Verdict. Asshole. Relevant comments. Downvoted commenter. You aren't the AH, and I think it's really fucking weird to travel with ashes. Dodged a bullet emo. You could have used nicer words though. OP. I don't think I dodged a bullet. She is a wonderful woman. I just didn't want to have a reminder of a dead dog while we were supposed to have a fun and relaxing time. Commenter 1. YDA. You do not get to tell her what she is allowed or not allowed to do, period. Who cares that she carries a little urn with her? I could understand if it was the size of a lamp, but it can fit into the palm of a hand. Saying goodnight to the ashes is not a big deal. I would be more concerned if every time she said goodnight that she broke down in a sea of tears, but she doesn't. It is something that brings here comfort. My first dog as an adult I had for 15 years. I still talk to his ashes sometimes. I love that I still have a piece of my boy with me. Opie. She only had the dog for a few years. I think it was 8 or 9 when it died. It was diagnosed with cancer and died a couple weeks later. Commenter 2. You're mad that she loved her dog that died of cancer? Oh my god. Opie. The point I was trying to make was that having the dog for only a few years means she couldn't have been as attached as someone who lost their pet of 10 plus years and raised them since it was a puppy. Commenter 3. Damn, bud, it's obvious you're lacking some emotions and or compassion. Opie. Is it wrong for me to not want to be reminded of her dead dog while we're on a weekend getaway? Commenter 4. Honestly, your reaction and doubling down is far more weird than her taking the ashes. You are a walking red flag. Your behavior shows you have a control issue. You should probably start seeing a therapist yourself, and trust me, you'll be going a lot longer than your now ex. I applaud her for choosing herself, her happiness, and her peace over you. Opie. I'm not trying to double down. I get that using the word allow was wrong. That was my mistake. But maybe my girlfriend should have told me that's why she was canceling our trip, and we could have had a discussion. Instead, she decided to unpack and stay home. That seems like an overreaction. Editor's note. OP made more edits and updates in the same post. Update number 1. Next day. Update. And I'm sure this will make a lot of you happy, I get it. I'm an asshole. I texted my GF to say I'm sorry for how I spoke to her and for dismissing her feelings. It was wrong. I also said I would like to apologize in person and offered to bring over her favorite takeout. She said, all good. Don't worry about an in-person apology. I gathered the things you've left at my house. Let me know when you would like to come pick them up. I'm hoping she will still hear me out when I go to her place. Edit 3. To those of you DMGNG me who think I'm NTA, but won't post a public comment due to the risk of being downvoted, please stop. That is cowardly. To those saying my girlfriend is a lunatic, a sociopath, unhinged, a trauma dumper, has endless emotional baggage, in need of a mental institution, etc., please stop that, too. While myself and others may not understand what she is going through, that doesn't automatically make her mentally unstable. She has a good heart and a good head on her shoulders. Name-calling is unnecessary and borderline crueler than I was. Final update. I shared this post with her, thinking it might help her see that I was wrong and am owning it, and maybe it would open the door to a discussion. That blew up in my face. I probably should have deleted some of the questionable comments I made in this thread. She texted to say, your things are now in a garbage bag on the porch. Pick them up sooner than later so they aren't stolen. Goodbye, my name. Please respect my wishes and don't text me anymore. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. NTA, I understand that everyone grieves differently, but this is just kooky. I've had a few pets die and I grieved for one dog for several months, so I understand her feelings and loss. If she brings the urn breaks and the ashes fly all over the place, or she loses it. Will she have a psychotic break? Come on, guys, maybe she should have left the urn at home. A bowl of water and some kibble. OP, it is 2 inches tall. It can only hold a few tablespoons, at most. The rest of the ashes are kept in a scatter box. If the small run broke, she would still have the majority of the ashes. Does GF take the urn everywhere with her? OP, she doesn't take them anywhere outside her place, which is why I thought it was weird that she wanted to bring them on our trip. As others have pointed out to me, she probably just wanted to continue her bedtime routine of saying goodnight. I would ask her, but I have decided to give her some space. Commenter 2. Imagine competing with a literal dead dog. YTA. OP. I'm not trying to compete with the dog. I just don't know of anyone else who talks to the ashes of their dead dog. Commenter 3. Your ex-GF is awesome. Too bad you simply couldn't grasp it before screwing it up. Hope you learned a lesson. OP. In all honesty, the only thing I've learned is to keep my mouth shut when I'm uncomfortable, as I still don't fully understand why she can't be away for a night without her dog. Commenter 4. That's because you are not a kind or understanding person. I'm glad she left you. OP. She's been on international trips for weeks without her dog when it was still alive. How is this any different? Did OP have pets in the past? OP, no. My parents never allowed it, and it was never something I had an interest in doing when I became an adult. I am not anti-pet. I just have no experience to draw from. Editor's note. Again, OP added updates to the same original post and provided a sample picture of what the urn looks like. Update. 2 days later. For those of you that had asked, this is the urn. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. The ashes are still the dog emotionally. That's why she was choosing to bring them. For comfort. OP, I get that now. I was merely trying to explain why I thought our fun weekend plan ranked higher than an urn. I never said I was more important than her dog, just the remains. If I had taken the time to ask her about instead of speaking to her like a child, maybe things wouldn't have played out the way they did. Commenter 2. You should have learned the lesson to approach people with kindness and empathy. She told you what was needed. OP. I didn't realize it was still a touchy subject for her. Certainly not something to break up over. Commenter 3. You've only been together 4 months. You shouldn't be so attached to someone you've had in your life for so short a time. You have an unhealthy attachment to your ex-girlfriend, and you should go talk to someone about it. It's not good for you or anyone. It's not healthy. OP. So I'm not allowed to be attached after 4 months, but it's okay that my ex-GF became attached to a dog in the same amount of time?